The MVP race this year is something that continues to perplex me in spite of the fact that we are now 60 games into the NBA season. It is something that I have talked about ad nauseum on both of these channels, and I actually have a video planned for my main channel to talk about the MVP race in further depth that's going to be coming out after this one does. But that MVP race, as it continues to perplex me, another big facet in it as of late has been Ja Morant, because for the last, I believe it's 14 games, he has averaged 34 points per game on like 65% shooting. And with the MVP race being as open as it is at this stage of the season, which is really, frankly, I'm not going to say unprecedented, but it's at the very least unprecedented in my time as an NBA fan. With the MVP race being as open as it is, there's a lot of question as to whether or not Ja Morant is actually going to walk away with this award. And there's been a lot of discourse around this award in general that I think has been, I don't want to say unfair. What's the way to put it? I feel like both sides are wrong in one way or the other. And you know, that's kind of my whole thing. My stance is always like, I actually think it's somewhere in the middle. I'm the king of fence sitting. But genuinely in this case, I really feel as though the people who are very, very pro Ja MVP and very, very anti Ja MVP, both sides are being a little ridiculous in one way or another. Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100K subscribers on this channel by the end of the playoffs, so your subscription will be much appreciated. And dropping that like, it's only going to take you a click, and it really makes the video perform way better in the algorithm, so it is much appreciated. So, Ja Morant, as I mentioned, he's been on this run. 14 games, 34 points per game. Absolutely insane. You had 46 against my Chicago Bulls, and that was insane enough as it was. That team, my team, could not defend that pick and roll worth shit. They got smoked around every screen. If it wasn't Jamal, if it wasn't Ja scoring, it was Steven Adams. And on the other end of things, the next game they play, San Antonio Spurs, Ja Morant has 52 in a barrage of highlight plays to pair with it. The two most noteworthy being, of course, his dunk on Jakob Poeltl, which is probably the best dunk of his career and the best dunk of this season. And then we have the catching the ball with 0.4 seconds left on a full court pass for a mid-range jumper to beat the buzzer. Truly some wild, wild shit. Ja Morant is a human highlight reel, which definitely plays a large factor in his MVP discussion. But that 52-point game, it was the highest points he scored in his career, and combined with the 46 he just had on the Bulls, that means he was 2 points away from scoring 100 points in 2 games. So you have this crazy run that he's been on, of course, to apply to his MVP race, and then now yeah, look at the fact that more than likely the Grizzlies are going to finish as the 2nd seed in the Western Conference, with the fact that the Grizzlies have been as good as they are and the Warriors have been as not good as they are with Draymond Green out. And there's actually a lot of stuff to talk about with the Warriors that I might get to at some point when I get back from this trip. By the time you're seeing this video, I should be in Atlanta hanging out with some friends. But with it being as it is, what's the point I'm trying to make? The Warriors have a lot of issues, and I think they're going to fall down to the 3rd seed as a result of this, with the Grizzlies being right there with them anyways. So, you know, you're making this case for Ja's MVP. He's averaging almost 30 points per game, as well as like 7 assists. I believe Ja's at like 28 almost right now. Let me go ahead and pull up his basketball reference just to confirm this. If I'm guessing, it's probably like 27, but the run that he has been on has been so significant. So it's 26.8 points, because yeah, 27.6 points. I don't know why I got the numbers jumbled in my head. So 27.6 points per game, 6.6 assists, 6 rebounds, 1.2 steals. He is shooting 50% from the field, 34% from 3 on 4.5 attempts per game, and 75% from the line on 7 attempts, which is not great. You know what's fucking crazy? 7 free throw attempts for as much as Ja Morant shoots the ball is fucking crazy. When Ja had 52, He had 6 free throws. 6 of his 52 points were free throws. The rest of that was all field goals. He had like 22 made baskets. So, Ja Morant, what an anomaly. But statistically, 27, 6, and 7 on the number 2 seed in the conference. And if I am not mistaken, let me look at the standings. That would give, they have a 68% win percentage. That would give them the 2nd best record in basketball. How is that not a legitimate MVP case? I mean, I realize this whole season we have been like, kind of Ja for like until now. But for real, and I think the reason why we're seeing so much vitriol in the idea of this MVP is that we've had these other candidates in mind this whole time, like Joel Embiid with the Sixers, and the Giannis being Giannis. People doing the DeRozan thing. I'll be real, DeRozan's not the MVP. It's kind of like the same thing I've said about like people putting like Donovan Mitchell in MVP discussions. Guys who we know aren't MVP caliber players really just aren't going to win it. So that's the case with DeMar. It's the case with Donovan Mitchell. It was the case with like Isaiah Thomas in 2017. It's like, look, do they have crazy numbers on a top seed? Yes, but no, we're not giving them the award. I could see someone making that same argument for Ja Morant, but Ja Morant is better than DeMar DeRozan, and he's the real fucking deal. Anyways, side tangent. But you have those cases. You have Nikola Jokic, who we've been talking about all year. But to me, especially if we're looking at this from a traditional sense, like traditionally, what is the formula to win MVP? Be a top seed in your conference, be one of the best records across the league. Like if you're the 2 seed in the East, but like there's 6 teams better in the West, you might not necessarily get the MVP because of that. But in this case, the Grizzlies probably finished with the 2nd best record in basketball. So you need the top seed. You need the stats. I keep going Jamal Murray because I just talked about the Nuggets in a video right before this. Ja has the stats. He absolutely has those stats. And the Grizzlies would be the 2nd best team record-wise. So you need the stats. You need the winning. You also need highlights. I think that's an underrated aspect, and I think that's one of, if not the largest factor in Nikola Jokic getting this reputation of like a boring or forgotten or not great overall MVP is the fact that he's not, outside of his passing, not really the biggest highlight reel in the world. Like Jokic throws probably like 2 highlight passes a game, but that's about it. Ja Morant is creating like 5 highlights a game on a bad day, it feels like. And I saw a stat on Twitter the other day, which was like percentage or like hours viewed of highlights, and it was like LeBron James 1, Steph Curry 2, and then Ja Morant was like number 3, and then a huge drop off from number 4. And Ja Morant was a good bit below Steph and LeBron, but still, it's Steph and LeBron, and those guys have the precedent. But like Jamal is, I did it again. Ja is constantly in highlights. He's constantly in front of everyone's eyes. He has the number 2 seed in basketball. He's going to anyways. And he has the numbers. He has the highlights. He has the numbers. He has the winning. I don't know why people are acting like the notion of Ja winning MVP is ridiculous. In fact, I was going in this video probably going to be like definitely still no, but as I'm kind of talking myself into it, makes a lot of sense because you look at everybody else's case. I mean, I would give the MVP to Joel Embiid right now personally. They have the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference, which to be fair would be the 5th best record in the West, but whatever. But Embiid has been unbelievable. Jokic, I would just make the argument that his team's not quite good enough, even though it's like basically the same win percentage. This shit's fucking semantics. I feel like Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis are kind of in a similar-ish tier, even though I feel like Giannis has missed a handful of games, but I might be mistaken. Either way, I feel like those 3 and Ja, I don't hate you if you consider any of them MVP. And that's just kind of my takeaway with this MVP race overall is I don't know that there's any pick here that's fucking obvious. So for people acting like suggesting Ja should be the MVP is ridiculous, I don't agree with that. But I've also seen some people being like, Ja has been the clear-cut MVP. You guys just don't want to give him the proper credit. Y'all sleeping on Ja. No. If there's one thing people haven't done with Ja Morant, it's sleep on him, other than me, maybe. But since he's entered the league at the very least, Ja Morant has been at the forefront of many people's attentions. So to that extent, yeah, basically my point is I fully see an MVP case for Ja Morant. I also see a case for Embiid. I see a case for Giannis. I see a case for Jokic. I'm not mad at you if you pick any of these guys to win the award, and I don't feel as though you should be mad at anybody else for that same thing. This MVP race this year is, in my time as a fan, unprecedentedly competitive, and yeah, this late in the season, a guy can have a 14-game stretch of 34 points per game, and that can influence an MVP race. Of course it can. We're not going to act like that's an insignificant achievement. That's a fucking lot. So, almost 28, 7 and 6, number 2 record in basketball, human highlight reel. I've seen worse cases in my life, that's to be sure. So yeah, that's my thought on Ja Morant potentially being the MVP. Goodbye.